I, 27 male, graduated from college 5 years ago, and I live with my girlfriend in the Pacific Northwest. It's fairly expensive here, but we both make a decent living and have a pretty good standard of living. Last weekend, we went to visit with my family. It was good to see my folks and my maternal grandparents, but I found out that my parents have been telling everyone in Nevada that I live by myself and that I'm dating someone from their faith. My girlfriend is definitely not. Anyways, I really don't care. It doesn't hurt me if they want to lie, except some of my cousins started talking to us, and we didn't lie. We told them that we lived together and we were not married. My parents said that they were very displeased that my lifestyle isn't how they raised me. I've been dealing with this for nearly a decade now, so I told them I would live by their rules as long as they were paying my bills. So I laid out my monthly budget and asked them when I could expect them to pony up. They said I was being disrespectful and didn't have to embarrass them in front of family by doing the my house, my rules thing like they did when I depended on them to finance my life. So am I the idiot for telling my parents they had to start paying my bills? Not the idiot. In fact, your response was pretty funny. OP, you're 27, employed, and living states away from your parents. You can do whatever you want, and they don't have to like it. Your parents still need to catch up with the new reality. Sucks for them. Sounds like this was your Declaration of Independence. You weren't serious about them paying your bills. You were making the point that you're a self-supporting adult, and they aren't in charge of you anymore. At age 27, it's about time they accepted that. Also, they might be better representatives of their faith if they stop lying about you. Also, a perfect clapback. Bravo, OP. Yep, it's hoisting them with their own petard. I'm not surprised at all that they're the type who said to him, "So long as you live in my house, you'll live by my rules," even after he turned 18, and held over him all the sacrifices they made and how they fed and clothed him, etc., blah, blah, blah. So yes, this is a fantastic way to get someone to shut up about your life. Want me to live like you? All right, pay for it. It's a bit sad that OP appears to have some guilt in regards to this, that they don't quite get that they've given their parents too much power for far too long. You have to set boundaries with your parents as you age. By age 27, those boundaries should be crystal clear. After all, by that time, you can't be on their insurance anymore. But out of curiosity, what would you have done if they agreed? It would be pretty awkward if they called my bluff. My girlfriend by herself makes more than my parents combined, but I make more than her. I will just say that they can't afford my mortgage and car note, much less everything else. I, female 28, have a good friend, Martin, male 28. We met in middle school, and we've been friends since. Martin and I went to the same college. Back then, we had many trips to the beach with friends, especially Cancun, since we don't live that far away. We traveled to Cancun at least once during our spring break and summertime. In Mexico, at least on the resorts and beaches we visited, it's normal to go topless to have a nicer tan. I like to sunbathe topless, so I didn't have any bikini top marks. I used to do that every time we went to the beach. Martin and my other friends have seen me do it many times. For them, it's not important. Well, now both Martin and I are married to different people. My husband and I recently had our first baby, a beautiful infant baby. Martin and his wife, Paula, 33, have 2 kids too. Paula and I are friendly and cordial with each other, and we don't have any issues. Anyway, I went to visit them last Monday. I'm on maternity leave and was bored at home as my husband is away on a business trip. I went to have dinner with Martin's family. After dinner, their kids went back to their playrooms, and the 3 of us sat down in a lounge area to chat a bit more. Then my son started crying. I picked him up, and as he was hungry, I commented that I needed to feed him. Paula asked me if I wanted to go to their room. I assumed she thought I was uncomfortable breastfeeding in front of them, so I told her I was fine and just pulled my dress and bra down to feed my baby. Paula then told me, "Don't you think it's better to bottle feed him or go somewhere private if you want to breastfeed?" I told her I was fine. I don't get embarrassed with something as natural as this. And she said, "Well, maybe you're okay with it, but other people might not want to see it." I told her back, "Oh, I didn't think you'd mind it. Sorry, I won't do it next time." Then she told me she didn't mind it, but her husband shouldn't have to see it. So this is where I might be an idiot, because I sort of laughed and said, "Martin? He's seen my boobs many times. Trust me, he doesn't care." He laughed back and said it was true and that it was okay for him, like the whole breastfeeding thing. Well, after that, Paula went crazy. She told me what I said was very inappropriate and that, and this is literally what she said, I shouldn't talk about the intimate activity her husband had with me in front of her because she's his wife and it's rude. Paula didn't know about the topless thing, but just in case, I told her she got me wrong and that I meant that he saw me when I was sunbathing. She said that that's intimate activity too. We argued some more. Then she asked me to finish feeding the baby and leave, which I did because I was annoyed at her. Now I'm wondering if I'm in the wrong or not here. Not the idiot. You were feeding your child. I could see how the "he's seen my boobs plenty of times" could be misconstrued if she hadn't already known about the sunbathing thing, but she did. It sounds like she deliberately twisted your words to make it something it wasn't. And if sunbathing topless is an intimate activity, heaven help her. I'm not an American, so maybe that's why I think if we're close enough that I'm comfortable visiting you with my newborn a couple of months postpartum, we're close enough that you're an idiot for making me feel breastfeeding is somehow inappropriate. Like, lady, if you think your husband's eyes will wither in his skull while his friend is breastfeeding, I don't know what to say. But again, not American. My colleague would go out for lunch with a few of us during her maternity leave and breastfeed right at the table. So those are the cultural norms I'm used to. Everyone's the idiot here. Poor communication. You were at their house and missed Paula's very obvious hint that she wasn't comfortable with the situation. She sucks for how she phrased it about your comfort, but you should have read the room. I think it was an idiot move to not be more considerate of her comfort level as a guest. You could have paused to double check when she asked before whipping it out. I, 29 female, started working at a new company 8 months ago. I was headhunted specifically for my role, which gave me enough power to negotiate my contract as I wanted. One of the things I managed to get was a clause that prohibited my employer from contacting me outside work hours. However, if it is a true emergency, then they can send me an email. Otherwise, they can't even send me a text. Furthermore, I have a separate work phone that I shut down at 5 on the dot, then turn on at 9 a.m. Another thing is that I don't work OT. I'm very efficient, so my work is done by 3 p.m., 5 p.m. if we have an emergency. I also take my whole lunch break outside the office and my coffee breaks away from my desk. My coworkers are different. They tend to socialize during work hours and have work left for afterward. They sometimes ask me to help, but I always decline by saying that I have plans. I won't go into details. I'll just say that I have plans. These plans, 99% of the time, just include going home, reading books, or sleeping. But that's my personal time. Monday, a coworker asked me if I could stay a little bit later to help her out. Apparently she was late with some essential work, but had to be done by that night because she had to attend her daughter's recital at 6. I said that I was sorry, but that I had plans. It was a nice day, so instead of going home, I just went to a park to read while breathing some fresh air. I brought some fruit and bubble tea and made a picnic out of it. My coworker found me there, and she was angry. She said that I could have helped her if I didn't have plans. I said that I did have plans, this impromptu picnic. She said that it wasn't as important as her daughter's recital. So I said that for me, it was even more important than her daughter's recital. She called me an idiot, and some of my friends agreed. So am I the idiot? Not the idiot. However, one day you might need help, and your coworkers will remember how inflexible you were. You obviously have every right to reject helping out your coworkers, but just remember that when you inevitably need help, everyone else has plans. There are consequences to the work lifestyle you detailed. As long as you're okay with that, Godspeed. This is one of those, technically you're not the idiot, but you're basically asking for everyone to hate you situations. Yep, it's great that you're so efficient and ruthless about enforcing boundaries regarding your work. I can totally respect that. Would I want you as a coworker, though? On the one hand, it'll teach her not to rely on anyone but herself. On the other hand, that kind of behavior doesn't exactly foster a strong team. I guess you'd know whether it'll matter in the long run. OP, your picnic is not time sensitive. Her child's recital is. You don't owe her your time or work, but you also didn't have to be an idiot about it either. My eating fruit in the park is more important than your daughter's recital. No, it's not. You care about it more. Also, slightly pedantic, but if the picnic was impromptu, you didn't have plans. That's literally what impromptu means, unplanned. Who will help you when you've shown that you don't care about anyone but yourself? My girlfriend and I both work in the tech industry and both have 5 years of experience. I have a CS/math degree, and she has an electrical/electronics engineering degree. I've been promoted to a senior level at my company, and she's been promoted only once and is still a junior at her company. She always complains about how things are unfair at all her jobs, 3 so far, and how she's not given opportunities, supposedly excluded from meetings, while claiming she gets asked to take notes in meetings and decisions. She judges her coworkers for things they say that have nothing to do with work, like when they talk about their wives and partners. She and another woman once complained about a coworker being rude in meetings in HR, which was dealt with by a woman, didn't find anything wrong, and dismissed their concerns. She recently had a performance review and was not promoted, and told that she needs to take on more challenges. She told me that she does, but is always told to hand over projects to other people when she starts them, and she's excluded from meetings. I believe there's some prejudice against women in the industry, but she can't blame everything on that and recognize that perhaps she has room to improve. She thinks that because she graduated with honors with a 4.0, that translates to industry performance. Her degree is also in electronics and is more hardware focused. I expressed this to her and suggested she follow her manager's advice to grow, and she got upset with me and called me an idiot. I get her disappointment, but I don't think it's fair for her to expect me to just agree with everything she says. So, a woman tells a man about experiencing prejudice in tech, a famously misogynistic environment. A man who has no more work experience than her, but who has been promoted to senior level, replies that she's wrong based on nothing other than a feeling that he's right. This is a bigoted workplace in a microcosm. Oh boy, clearly he must have worked harder. You are the idiot, OP. You aren't a woman in tech, so you wouldn't get it. The reason tech is such a male-dominated field, despite all of the outreach to get girls involved, stems from a lot of bigotry in the industry. Many women study for years for the tech industry, only to quit in the first year because of the issues that your girlfriend is currently facing. What? She wants to grab the coffee, clean up, take notes, and be allowed to share an idea or opinion? Geez, these women, you can never make them happy. She had a 4.0 GPA, but was invited to meetings to take notes and expected to hand off challenging work assignments to male colleagues. Dude, come on. Actually read what you wrote. You don't get promoted in tech for being an awesome note taker. Agree. OP has no idea what he's talking about. Being asked to take notes is not a good thing. My advice to your girlfriend would be to see if she can secure a job elsewhere, as it's clear her current workplace is setting her up for failure if she's being forced to hand over projects and being excluded from meetings. I, 34 female, live upstairs in a duplex with my 2 boxer/pity mixes. I've lived here for 5 years with my ex, who recently moved out. Last year, my neighbors, 31 female, 32 male, moved in downstairs after the unit had been empty for a while. They were good neighbors until this year when they had a baby. Apparently, they had to go through IVF and had a bunch of miscarriages. She posted all about it on Facebook. I thought it was TMI, but whatever. I'm only her Facebook friend because she added me. She's made a big deal about being pregnant, and it's been annoying to see, but I just ignored her. Anyway, since she's had the baby, I've had to deal with the crying from downstairs. It's not as bad as I expected, but it is still really annoying. I've gone down and knocked on their door a couple of times to tell them to keep the noise down. Every time they apologize and blame their baby, but nothing has changed. I got fed up and reported them to our landlord for making too much noise. The landlord talked to my neighbors, who are now turning it around on me, saying my dogs are too loud and I play music at night that wakes their baby up. My dogs aren't loud and hardly bark when I'm home. I got annoyed and went down to talk to my neighbor about it, and she got really nasty with me and blamed my dogs and me for always waking her baby up. She said that they could hear every one of mine and my dog's footsteps and the dog's nails on the floor specifically, that my dogs bark the whole time I'm not home during the day, and that I put my music up too loud at night. I told her I couldn't make my dogs not bark when I was out, that they're dogs on hardwood floors, and that I didn't know what she expected living in a downstairs unit. I also told her I could have people over and my music on whenever I wanted in my home. I don't think it's fair to ask me to change my life when I'm not the one who had a baby. My neighbor got an attitude and told me she was only asking for me to be respectful of our shared space, and brought up hearing my argument with my ex a few weeks ago. I admit it was a little loud, but it wasn't that big of a deal. I laughed and told her that pretty much went out the window when she had a baby, but she shut the door in my face. I reported the whole conversation to my landlord, so there's a record of my complaints, because I want them and that baby out of here. When I was telling a friend about what was happening, she told me I was being a major idiot to struggling new parents. But I think that's their problem and not mine. But I wanted to get unbiased feedback, because that friend is usually a little over-emotional for my taste. OP, you are the idiot. Do you think people should put up with your noise, dogs' nails on hardwood, dogs barking, music, arguments, but you expect silence from your neighbors? What is funny is that she's actually fine with all of your noise, much of which can be controlled, until you complained about a crying baby, which cannot be controlled. Hire a dog walker or invest in thunder shirts, invest in rugs, and turn your darn music down unless you live someplace very old or cheaply built. If they can easily hear your music, it's too loud. Ooh, a baby is doing what babies do. Cry. Get real, OP. It's not like their baby can simply tell their parents what's wrong or what they need. You, on the other hand, are fully in control of the noise level of what comes out of your apartment. P.S. Don't assume your crappy complaints won't get you evicted. Yeah, OP is probably a lazy dog owner who doesn't give them enough exercise and then crams them in a tiny, boring apartment all day. They should also be walked twice a day, so a dog walker is an excellent idea. You're the kind of person who wants to remain child-free. Totally okay. You don't like kids. I get it. But as someone in an apartment, you also want to impose your way of life on your neighbors. You cannot control the actions of other people. They had a baby. Babies cry. I think almost everyone has told you this at this point. Simple solution: move into your own house. Better yet, buy a house with a couple of acres. I promise you'll never be bothered by babies crying again. Stop thinking the world revolves around you and your lifestyle. It doesn't. Either put up, shut up, or move out, because you are not the princess and not the main character, even if you think you are. In case you haven't gotten it by now, you are one of the biggest, most entitled idiots I've seen.